All right, I think we're live on Facebook. Thank you
Alrighty.
guys, everyone, for hopping on here. Just want to really quickly introduce Matt. Matt is going to be our guest today. We're going to be talking about how Matt went from a business that he owned and kind of just working in it by himself to $1 million business in just under a year. Matt currently is successfully booking around 8 to 10 appointments, even more, actually. He just told me just before we hopped on here, consistently connecting with ready to buy prospects, and he's building a team to handle the day-to-day operations. Matt is an awesome guy. He has a really awesome company. So I'm excited to have him on here. This is really for anyone, if you're watching this video, is really for anyone who wants to stack their calendar with red hot appointments every single day. What we're going to be walking through is pulling back the curtain on roadblocks and challenges that Matt faced going to that $1 million business. So without further ado, I'm just going to go turn it over to Matt himself. Matt, tell us a little bit about your company, what exactly you do, and we'll start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you so much for having me. In terms of what we do, we help agencies scale by taking on more projects. We offer like white label graphic design and web development services, and we cater specifically for agencies. And so, kind of, we have a quite a large team now, and we essentially help agencies kind of outsource or offshore some of their design and development services, so they can increase their margins, and so they can kind of essentially scale their companies nice and swiftly without having to worry about where to source designers and developers.
Very, very cool. And then how long, have you always been doing that, or where did you start your entrepreneur journey?
Good question. So before I actually started the company, I didn't go to university. I worked in a very entrepreneurial role, where I learned how to launch and run webinars and video series for online courses. So I helped a lady kind of transition offline to online, and it was just a very, very good educational experience. So I learned a lot about Facebook ads, kind of general marketing, that kind of stuff, or digital marketing. And then from there, I decided to launch my own agency, and that was about 4, maybe 5 years ago now.
Marketing agency.
Yeah, like a marketing agency,
Nice.
But we always had a heavy focus on fulfillment. And even when we were like a full stack agency, and then after about 4 years of doing that, I think probably about 3 or 4 years from there, we kind of grew that to a certain size, and I could just see that continuing to work on strategy and fulfillment was going to be a bit of a bottleneck to actually scaling the company, because it's quite hard to find. Well, I found it quite hard to find good consultants and good kind of strategic marketers. And so I decided to just go all in on the fulfillment and the kind of the white label side. So we pivoted about a year ago, just over a year ago, to the new offer, which is unlimited graphic design and web development for $650 US a month. And that kind of removed a lot of the blocks to scaling in terms of the offer side. The piece that we didn't have was we were pretty much starting the company from scratch at that point.
Right.
We didn't have any lead gen systems. We didn't have any sales funnel. And one of the things that actually led to making that decision, we used to have a funnel, which is like a PPC ad funnel. So we would divert any kind of Kajabi traffic. So we were previously niched down into Kajabi, which is software for coaches, consultants, selling online courses, right? And we would be the company that would be able to help you start and launch your online course. And we used to have a funnel where we generate leads from anyone searching Kajabi expert, Kajabi consultant, Kajabi support. And that worked for a little while. And then eventually that broke. And it was kind of one of those pivotal moments. Everybody tends to have these kind of moments, the light bulb moments. And when that broke, it meant obviously our sales plummeted, and just really gave me a good chance to think about okay, if I want to scale this, if I do want to take this to the 7 or 8 figure mark, do I feel that the current company that I have is going to do that? And it didn't. And so that's really where I was thinking about, okay, actually, what's the one thing that's holding us back as a company in terms of scaling? And it's the fact that I was doing loads of the strategy, loads of the bits other than the fulfillment. So I figured, okay, if I play to my strengths as a CEO and maybe we relaunch slightly and retailer the offer, will it be more scalable? And then that's right around the time we kind of did some outbound stuff from there. just to validate the offer and that kind of stuff. And then shortly after, we found you guys.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's really been awesome seeing your transformation to where you were before when you started to now $1 million run rate. So my question is, what was the biggest difference that you saw? Because people here listening, what they're looking for obviously is to build that business that could have that revenue, that $1 million run rate revenue. And what I know is like the biggest difference between businesses that we see are successful and businesses that maybe are struggling a little bit is their offer. Like that's a huge part. What did you see different from your marketing agency offer to the offer that you're currently on and you're running with now? Like what was that biggest difference? And why do you feel like that maybe had something to do with the success that you're having in the company?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the biggest things I've learned in like the last 12 months. There's been like a few key things, but like one of the biggest things I've learned is just how much of an impact the offer makes. And now we're at I'll answer the question directly in a second, but now we're actually a little bit further down the field. The next thing I'm thinking about is like, how do we recreate the same offer in a few different ways? And that's actually a thing that like an area that I spend a lot of my time on still, will continue to, I think, because of how important it is. But I think the difference is like it's huge. The offer is so magnetic. Like if I just say unlimited graphic design and web development, 650 a month, people are like, what? Like, how do you do that? How do you make money? And that is so much of a different, and to the fact that like when people engage with our marketing material, they already know the price, which just changes the rest of the conversation. And so like the offer has so much of a, we are like very, very open about the offer because it's just one of those offers, but obviously it doesn't have to be like that. But the offer and taking the time to craft the offer is huge. And I think any like businesses that I create moving forward, or any new products, like 100% that's where I'm going to spend like 99% of my time, because if you get that right, the way that people approach you in the sales conversation completely changes, or has the potential to completely change. And the other thing that's worked really well is like risk removal. So just like, and you always see offers like, hey, I'll get you SEO. Like I saw one this morning about like, I'll build you an SEO website that's guaranteed to generate you income, or you don't pay for it, right? And even I was relatively attracted. And I have a web development company. It's a huge thing. And one of the parts of that was risk removal. And I remember reading somewhere about like if the offer doesn't scare you at night, then it's too small. I can't remember. It was like one of the gurus. It was on a Facebook ad or whatever. And I remember thinking that when I came out with this, I was like, does this scare me? Yes. I was like, I'll take the random piece of advice that I saw on the internet, and it worked. Really the offer, that was a huge thing that I've come to now take as a really key piece of information moving forward, that the offer is definitely king. And actually somebody on a call yesterday, had a really good offer, the teeth whitening. One, I can't remember who it was on the call I was on
our elite coaching elite IC call. Yeah.
On Tuesday. And it was like, come in, like, so long as you commit to like whatever it was, like 4 quarterly like checkup sessions.
His offer was you get free teeth whitening for life as long as you come in for your 6-month checkup. Like it was for a dentist, right? So every 6 months you're supposed to go in for a checkup. So as long as you go in for that checkup, you have free teeth whitening for life, which 100%. Is a great offer. Yeah,
such a good offer. And like you hear that and you're like, oh, great. I mean, you generally feel like incentivized to go to the checkups. And it's like, and that's the power, versus just come to your checkout where you don't really know what we do. We just poke around in your mouth and you get charged $200 for it. Right. And it's like, it's huge. It's huge. And it really causes people to be very, very magnetic to what you're selling. So
yeah, I'm just monitoring the comments here, guys. Thank you guys for watching, everyone who's watching live and who's watching the replay. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop those into the chat. Stick around for the next couple of minutes because Matt has something really, really cool that he wants to give away to each of you guys. But before we kind of talk about that, I want to stick on this offer piece just for a little bit. One of the kind of like examples that I like to give when we're helping clients is if you could think about like for an example, like digital marketing agencies back when Facebook just started. You think about like what their offer was back then. It was like, hey, I could run Facebook ads for you. And it was fine because the level of sophistication of the market wasn't as high because it was a new opportunity, right? You could just say, hey, yeah, I could run Facebook ads for you. And people are like, yeah, this is awesome. I've been running print and TV ads and billboards, and it's been super expensive. This is a new opportunity that I can like reduce my costs. And it worked. So a lot of those people made a lot of money with that really good offer. Then the market became more sophisticated. There was a lot more people offering Facebook ads. And then it went from, okay, I can run your Facebook ads, like, hey, I can help you generate 100 leads per month, right? That was the new sexy offer. And then if you start looking at the stages of market sophistication, it went from lead generation to booked appointments. Hey, I can book 30 booked appointments on your calendar every single month. And then now kind of like where it's at is like, hey, I will book an appointment on your calendar. And if that, doesn't show up, then you don't pay, right? Or a lot of marketing agencies do like the pay-per-show model, right? You just need to consistently be like leveling up your offer. And one thing that if you guys are listening, one thing that I would recommend is you go look at what your competition is doing and try to figure out how to make your offer stand above the rest of your competition. Right now, what a lot of people do in a mistake here, and I'll get back to Matt here in a second, but this brought something to my mind I think is super valuable for you guys. What a lot of people do is they try to figure out like what other people are offering, and they try to offer just a little more for a little less. Now, what that is you're starting to be a commodity around that type of offer. You don't want to have that type of offer. What you want to have is a value-based offer where your offer is so much more like valuable in leagues above your other competition, where your prospect, when they meet with you, they don't even consider anybody else, right? Because it's so much more valuable than everybody else. Kind of like Matt's offer, unlimited graphic design for one flat rate fee, right? There's a lot of other companies out there that charge you per, project or, stuff like that. So Matt, what would be like one piece of advice that you would give someone, as they're starting, trying to really hone in on that offer or really hone in on like building their business up to the point where they can feel comfortable at getting to that 10K, 20K, 50K, 100K, 500K per month mark?
Yeah, 100%. Literally, I think the two things, like if I think about like starting a new service or starting a new company, like the number one thing I think there is like what's the offer, like an offer validation, and then can this offer scale, like with booked appointment, like how am I going to actually get like the booked appointments for it? And those things, I think like it's kind of like a little jigsaw puzzle when you get them right. So when we met you or brought you guys in for, I think it was in December, we were at 20K a month. And we've now just surpassed, like, I think we're just over 86 a month, 86
$1 million run rate.
Exactly. And that's like, all that is, when you actually think about it, is like, there's actually not that much that's changed in the dynamics of the company. We have a lot more team, like a huge team now. I still only speak to 5 or so people, but the difference is really, it's being able to get the offer right, being able to get that in front of more people, and being ballsy enough to spend like having the booking system in place, like having the booking system, the number of leads come through, and being ballsy enough to spend like enough on ads, right? And like the key is to get the offer right, to be able to figure out the paid acquisition side, so that you do get like the booked appointments and the sales. And as soon as that happens, like the one thing that I feel like I didn't have previously was the balls to spend more money on, not the one thing, obviously the actual booking system was the one thing we didn't have, and the sales system, but the slight mindset shift as well that does have to happen is, as soon as you get a good cost per acquisition and you have the bookings in place, because really that's number one thing. As soon as you get like sales like opportunities, you're gold. Like the more sales opportunities you have, the more time you can sell. But the slight mindset shift that I have made recently, I guess in the last kind of 5 months or so, is being ballsy enough to spend money on Facebook ads. I feel like if I look back previously on a lot of my entrepreneurial journey, there was a lot of hesitancy to dialing up that system and investing in ads. And I think one of the things, I think it could be quite easy once you do get a system in place, not like to sit on it for a little bit too long. So that was one thing. That's one of those things. But really, the key thing is just getting booked appointments. Like, as soon as you can get booked appointments reliably and for a good cost, like you're good as gold. And the logic I was kind of thinking through with this was like, as long as I can get a sale for, as long as my like cost of goods sold is less than 50% and my acquisition costs and like all the marketing is like around 50%, like I'm good. I can just keep getting free customers and
Right.
my ability to scale is kind of endless. And so really that's the number one focus is just, and you always see this with SaaS companies. It's like, as soon as they figure out paid advertising and like get like their sales, whoosh, everything goes off. And like, what is the key to
Turn that
figuring out?
down.
Exactly. And like, what is the key to figuring out the paid advertising? It's like getting your offer right and really making that attractive and spending the time to test that. The nice thing is you can test it really quickly on Facebook, and especially with the system you guys show people how to set up and run. Like that's a really easy way to validate offers and to check. Like you can literally get your cost per lead within a day and see how attractive that is to your market, right? And like that process, I think, is really important because once you get that right, and then obviously you have like the booking rates, the show up rates, and everything else. Once you have the offer right, it's then a case of getting like the logistics, bringing in the setter, the closer, making sure that they're closing on track. But as soon as you have all of those little dials in place, the offer, paid acquisition, and the closing system, it's like that's really the holy grail.
That's when it gets fun.
Yeah, it gets really fun. Yeah,
yeah,
it does get really fun.
So you mentioned having that proven client acquisition system, right?
Yeah.
I just kind of want to get like really quickly for everyone watching, what, in your opinion, like what is it that can, like, what needs to happen, right, to generate that lead, to book an appointment, to have that sales conversation, to close more deals, right? In your opinion?
Yeah, well, this is like, I feel like it's quite a nuance. It varies a lot from niche to niche, I think. And like, that was actually one of the things why I remember the first coaching call I jumped on with you guys. And like, I've been around for a little while having an agency. I've been in quite a few programs. But one of the things I really loved about you guys was how the advice was very, very nuanced. And like a lot of people kind of sell systems of, you do lead gen forms or whatever and XYZ. But the thing that people don't get is like the system can change depending on the audience that you're in, like the age, the market, and everything. One of the things I really loved about you guys was how the advice you would give was always very, very nuanced to people in the group. And because I've been around, I could kind of tell the nuanced advice that was being said. And I was like, I really, really like that. But I think in terms of like what actually needs to happen, I think it comes back to like making sure you have a really, really solid offer. What's worked really well is the system that you guys have like suggested us to use, which I'm not sure how much of that I can say on this call.
Yeah, but I mean, whenever a lead comes in, you do a certain amount of things and make sure that you get as many of those opportunities onto a calendar as possible. Yeah. And then you turn as many of those opportunities on the calendar to get them to show up. And then you have the sales call, and then you try to close at least a 20-30% rate. And then
like, I think the one of the best hires I've ever made, and we're a team of about like 70 plus people, probably even slightly more. Like one of the best hires I've ever made in the company is Ray, my setter, which it's someone that you helped us find. He's insane. He's amazing. The only day, so like today is a funny day because it's the only day in 5 months we haven't had a booked call on the calendar. And the only day it's like since I've hired him that we haven't had it. And the only reason is because he's not here and I'm too busy at the moment to to do any of the booking stuff. So he's just taking the day off. But I was thinking about that earlier today because I was like, man, like that is a huge shift. Right. And literally when I found you guys, I was doing cold outreach, and I maybe get like I remember emailing you like how many things you get. I'm like 4, and you're like a day. I'm like no, a week. 4 booked appointments a week, right? And it's been a huge shift. Having Ray on board has been amazing. And we actually went to Mexico to meet him a few weeks ago, and the thing that generally astounded me, like he has so much experience like I haven't even like thought to tap into. Like he's just come and he's done a really, really good role. But I actually found out that he's got quite a lot of experience in like like other areas of business, and he has like experience in like the airline industry, for example. But there's so much that I can kind of like I can bring him into like completely different areas, into the maybe not completely different areas, but like he can really easily go up to a management level if I wanted him to. Like he's so on top of the numbers. He knows, like he's been able to take so much more than I thought he would. And it's nice. Like it's always the holy grail of a hire when you hire them for one role, but you know that they're capable of achieving more.
Right.
And yeah, he's been able to help me with so much. And yeah, it's been generally the best hire. And I think that's one of the key things is having part of the reason why I haven't like jumped into the system and start booking appointments myself is just because like I don't want to have to do that myself anymore. It's been so nice.
Under control. Yeah.
Got it so under control. Yeah. It's been so nice to be able to delegate that.
Okay, awesome. Well, no, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. And for those of you guys watching, go ahead and put down any comment or any questions that you guys have. I'm going to go ahead and see a couple in here. I'm going to go ahead and start reading those here in a second. But after the questions, what we'll do is Matt has something for every single one of you guys that we're going to give you guys out, and then kind of share some ways that you can connect with Matt. So Matt, last question before we go to the questions. Last question for me before we go to the questions from the comments. What would be like one big point of advice that you would give someone that, just as they're just going through this whole process, trying to figure it out,
Yeah, I think
any other pieces of advice that you'd have?
Yeah, there's a few. The main one I think is it can be really like it can be really easy to be slow on figuring out acquisition, like testing out all of the different ways there are to generate clients. Like it can be really slow, and I would suggest just to be fast on it, and just don't worry if something doesn't work. Just try the next thing and just keep going, because it's literally just like a puzzle. And this is the second time I'm going around this now, and every time I look back, I'm like, I should have done that so much like way faster. And make those decisions on that much faster. So I think just testing a whole bunch of stuff is like, because the upside when you do figure out the acquisition system is so big, it's so worth it. You can spend like really that initial phase is the most important, especially to go from kind of 4 figures to 7. Like that jump really is the key thing that's stopping it is usually number of leads, booked appointments, and sales. And so the quicker you can figure that out, the quicker. And I think if I were to go back and look at, like, give myself a bit of a pep talk through the process, I would probably just tell myself go faster and try more, because it's just like eventually something's gonna stick, and it doesn't matter any time something doesn't go wrong. It doesn't matter. It's just you just have to move on to the next one, and and just keep going. There's so many things, but it can feel daunting. Like, for example, we're just about to jump into TikTok, and I'm procrastinating because I don't have a TikTok video editor, right? And I don't really want to be on camera. And so I'm like, literally days are going by. I'm like, I could do this in an hour if I just stopped, messing around. But I'm like, oh, I can't, maybe I'll write a job post, but I'll do it later after my thing. I write a job post, and it's like 3 days have gone by since I've had that conversation, and I could have been having leads come in from TikTok by now if I just like faster, right? And it's an area that I still fall down on now, but really easy to fall into. But just keep looking back and saying, like, just try and get stuff action faster in the acquisition lead gen side, and I think you'll move up much faster.
Yeah. Side note, we need to meet because I got some TikTok strategies that we're seeing good results with. So
fantastic, wonderful, would love that.
So we got what's that?
Just one quickly. I do want to just touch on one other thing in the
oh yeah, absolutely.
You might we are not the first person, like the first company with this offer. That's one of the interesting things. And what we've done with this is essentially move the offer into a different niche, right? So our designers are UI UX designers, right? So we've kind of like taken the same, like a similar offer. Price points are relatively similar, but what we're doing is like changing the vertical and changing the use case of it, which is based on my strengths, obviously, in the agency space. Sure. Because the reason why people will come to us, the reason why I'm saying this, because there's probably going to be people watching this like, but Matt, you're not the first person with this offer. Yeah, right. And like really where we sit within like the wider world is like we're really good at UI UX design, landing pages, sales pages, websites, funnels, which is something that the other companies are really bad at, and or they charge you a hell of a lot more for those services. So that's kind of where we sit. One of the things that we did with the offer when we were looking at this is that we decided to move into the agency space, A, because it plays to my strengths, but B, because there's no one really in that space that provides these kind of services, and it's very valuable to them. So just wanted to touch on that because I'm sure
that's a great point. I think you could have, and we were going back and talking about the market sophistication and how you need to like further develop your offer. When you're in that offer where, you need to stand out from the crowd, like, yeah, maybe if you're going after the same market, but you can have the same offer in different markets. So one thing that I would encourage everybody to do is when you're doing your competitor research, trying to figure out, what other offers people or my competitors are offering, don't just go look at your competitors, go look at people in different other industries. Some of the, best things that we have done over at Conversionly have come from not only in the digital marketing kind of coaching, online consulting space, but have come from multiple different other industries, whether it be home improvement, for operations, whether it be planning with, the way that architects set up stuff, you could get ideas from different other industries.
100%.
So that's a good point. So we have a couple of questions here. Let me go ahead and read one of the first ones. Ethan asked, Matt, what was the hardest part of getting set up with the team? What bumps in the road did you see? How did you overcome them? And what was the time frame that it took?
Question, which team? The fulfillment team or sales team? Both have bumps in the road.
Ethan, if you're still watching, we'll go ahead and just ask you, fulfillment or sales team. But let's just assume that he's talking about, the sales team, just because you were, I think at that point you were talking about the just getting everything up and running with the client acquisition system. Yeah.
So with your help, Justin, like getting set up took less than like a month, I think like 3 weeks, if that. Bumps in the road was kind of lucky, actually. The one thing with the offer, one thing that really helps is that like the less ambiguity you can have on the offer means that there's less you have to coach the setter and the closer. So the less consulting you have to do on the call, I found it helped a lot with getting other people up to speed, right? Because you need less experience. They don't need to kind of make decisions. Even now, actually, some of our team get asked questions on the initial call. And because they don't have specifically an agency background, they will then have to say, okay, like booking with Matt, because respectfully, I don't have to answer your question, right? And so it does still happen, but it happens less. And that's naturally because the offer, it sets a few things up. And it means that I don't need somebody who's like an expert in web development or graphic design to sell that. So that was one thing that helped. One thing that like the issues is still, honestly, it was such a smooth process getting this. This is probably because of the help of Justin and his team. Like generally was one of the smoothest parts of the company like I've ever installed. And we've just hired a sales guy again, thanks to Justin's help. And that process was, again, like really, really smooth. Part of it plays down to the offer. Part of it, like a lot of it plays down to the system that Justin's helped me install. But in terms of like the time frame, I think about 3 weeks, and we were starting to, I think within 3 weeks, we closed the first cold lead from paid traffic. And then bumps in the road, I think naturally. Oh, the other thing actually is number of leads. So this can be a pain. Once you do actually get set up, one thing that I do like battle with is like Facebook ads, number of leads that are coming through, and that side of things. That can be sometimes a bit of a thing because you want to try and like, for me to scale now, I need to get like a set number of leads, but Facebook keeps increasing my CPM. So it's like money just goes, I don't know if you know what CPM is, but like the cost Facebook charges you to show your ads to an audience, that keeps rising. so the number of leads stays the same, but I'm just spending more money, which is kind of like the next hurdle that I need to address. But in the beginning, especially when you first start out, like with the advertising stuff, that doesn't happen as much. It's normally when you start spending more. So yeah, so to answer your question, really, it was actually surprisingly painless. In the beginning, actually, one thing that I did, but like, again, I was going to go down the cold email, written like a few other bits. Again, like probably those first 3 weeks with me like sitting on it and not really sure of the direction. So one of the biggest hurdles I think is just overcoming it. Like you just have to try, spray and pray, I think is the thing. Just like really just go for it and put a whole bunch of stuff out there and see what works. Definitely with a mind of like, is this scalable? You want to, anything you do, just make sure it's scalable. Because you don't want to kind of get, I mean, unless it's planned, unless it's like, okay, we're just going to do this now just to get a few leads in, but then we're going to continue working on a lead gen system that can get more leads in, right? Right. But it was a relatively painless experience. Like hiring the setter was wonderful. He just came in and I wrote him out a script. He ran with the script for a bit and then tweaked it, made it better. And that was it. There really wasn't too many hiccups, and there would have been if Justin wasn't on board.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I don't see any other questions. Yeah. So Ethan did say sales, and I guess like working with conversionally. So I think you answered that question. Okay, yeah. Cool. If anyone is watching the replay, if you guys have questions, go ahead and just drop those in, and Matt and I will be able to just continue to monitor this thread so that we just make sure that we answer any other questions that you guys have. Now, Matt has something really cool for you guys. So I'm going to let him kind of explain that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought it might be a nice thing to do is if you guys are interested in taking advantage, or at least just exploring what the unlimited graphic design and web development, specifically any of you agencies that are in this group, you're very welcome to hit me up and I can give you a free 7-day trial. The service, if you wanted to give that a go, you can actually go through the whole process. You can meet the setter, the sales guy that Justin's helped bring us on board. And then you'll actually have me for your onboarding call if you were to go through that route as well. I haven't got like any links or anything set up. And you'll see on our site, like it's just a direct sign up for $6.50 a month. So if you just head over to our website, which is buzzcube.io, just stick it in the chat. Wait, can I put it in the chat? Can you put it in the chat?
Yeah, I can put it in the comments.
And then go into the contact and just write submit the contact form. Just say, hey, just saw Matt on the Conversionly chat, and he offered a free 7-day trial. Is it okay to take you up on that? And then either myself or one of the sales team will jump in and have a chat with you and just see what you're looking to use the service. But you're very, very welcome to have a free 7 days with us. There's it's first 7 days are free, and then I'll also give you like a full 30-day money back guarantee on the first 30 days as well, if that's ever relevant for you.
Sweet. Yeah. So I just put BuzzCube in the chat. So you guys should see it there. So just head over there, take Matt up on that 7-day free trial, unlimited graphic design, funnel building. If you have a funnel that you need built, if you need updated profiles, pictures for your website, maybe, some cool graphics for the site, for your LinkedIn page, your Facebook page, Facebook ads, they do really, really good work over there. And obviously I'm a little partial because he's one of our clients, but I think he's the best in the business.
You definitely are. You shouldn't give a very, very long risk-free period. You will have a good experience. If you don't, we'll give you all your money back.
That's awesome. That's great. That's an offer you can't refuse.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here, Matt. I appreciate it. That kind of wraps this up. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and pop those into the comments. We got one that just popped in. So if you don't mind, do you have a couple more minutes, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know you got to run here in a little bit. Tracy asked, was the setter you have now the one that you started out with?
Yeah,
I think so, right? Yeah. Or do you have one? Did you have to find one that works best for you, the person that you have now? Thanks for sharing.
First person. So what happened in the process was, I think I went through everybody in the thing, and I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gelling with anybody in this. And so I think I messaged, was it Audra?
Audra, Caitlin.
Yeah, one of the two.
So what
And
Matt's talking about is whenever we have a client sign up, part of our program is to get an appointment setter so that they can call all of your leads for you, make sure that they call within 5 minutes, call at least 6 times, follow up. And then so what we do is our process, we already have appointment setters already trained on the entire system and how to make calls and everything. We give you a list of everyone who's already trained, and that's what Matt was talking about. He was just looking at that list and kind of going and looking at who he wanted to interview. So go ahead.
that's it. And in the initial list, I wasn't 100% sure on everybody. And I used to hire loads of people. Now I have somebody else that does it on the operations side. And so I kind of get a good. So I emailed and I just said, "Is there anyone else on that you have like in training or anything?" And I think I got like another three recent people that you just trained. I got a call with all three of them. And yeah, I think it was the last call of the three. I think it was good. I'd actually made an offer on one of the other people and he backed out, which is just like a godsend. And I ended up going with the third guy who I made an offer before I'd spoken to the third guy. Spoke to the third guy. Luckily, the first one didn't go through. And I saw Ray and I was like, "You're the one." And it's just been such a good hire. Really is awesome. And then probably second best hire is I say that, but I hope none of my operations team see this because they also are very good hires in themselves. But the other really good one that we've made is Justin, which is the sales guy, which is also with your help.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions that we have. Matt, thank you for joining us. Everybody, if you have any other questions, go ahead and pop those into the chat. And we will see you guys inside the Facebook group. See you guys.
Thanks so much for having me. See ya.
You're welcome. See you guys.